Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Viewers, as everybody know that the Iran war has been entered into the 18th day. The world is talking about the alternatives and the world is talking about how we have to move forward. In this context, we have come up with an episode with this discussion. So, what option Pakistan have? And if those options also have some global relevance. In this context, today we will be talking about more specifically about the Gwadar Port and the Gwadar setup, which is definitely Pakistan has also established economic zones, a global standard international airport. But starting with the Gwadar Port, we have invited a very eminent scholar, and that scholar has served for many years in the Navy, in those areas, in those waters, who understand the politics and the geography of those waters. Vice Admiral retired Dr. Ahmed Saeed. He has a vast experience when he was serving in the Navy. He was traveling through all these areas. Maybe many of us, but overwhelming majority, we don't have his experience. Only few people in every country they have those experience to travel through those waters. So he has traveled through those waters. He has a first-hand knowledge. Then he turned to be a scholar. So he completed his PhD and he was serving as president of National Institute of Maritime Affairs for many years, and now he is retired from there also. But he has a keen interest and the insight on the issue and the area. Welcome to the show, Dr. Saab.
Thank you very much, Ramesh Saab. It's my pleasure.
So Admiral Saab, we will be starting with with some very basic questions. Can you make our audience understand what is the Gwadar Port? What is this, the geography, especially in the context of the Hormuz or the Bandar Abbas, and these are concerned areas. So how you see the Gwadar Port? If we can start with it's a geographical location and it's a geographical importance.
Thank you very much. A little history about and then geography, with your permission,
Yes,
that
sure.
in the ancient times, as we know that the uh, human origin started from Africa. So somewhere in 9,000 to 7,000 BC, the human race, the original, came from Africa via sea towards the Makran area. That is the
Mhm.
Balochistan and Gwadar area. So that is the start. And then afterward, a lot of uh, invasions came, like invaders, they came, Portuguese, then was in some time, the limited time, uh, the Turkish, they also came into this area to protect the pilgrims.
Mhm.
But overall, I would say the in the latest history, we say the Kalat is the state which actually gave a modern uh, history to this area. So Gwadar was actually part of Kalat also. And then, as we
Mhm.
know that during 16th century, the Prince of Oman, he came towards this area and he was given a refuge. And
Mhm.
then later part of the time, it became part of Oman Sultanate. And then once the partition of India took place, the princely states were given the right to have self-accession. They can decide themselves. Either they can join India or Pakistan, or they can remain independent. So at that time, the Ahmed Khan, who was the head of state, he, after about 6 7 months, he took decisions to get accession with Pakistan, and the rest of the part is the history. So this,
Mhm.
giving this background, is actually that in this area, not only uh, the a lot of civilizations have an impact, which is the
Mhm.
Persian, which is the uh, Asian,
Arab.
South Asian, Buddhism, and then Western also, Portuguese. and some part is Alexander also came in this area. And so these all civilizations have actually impact on this, and that all was merely because of its maritime potential. This area was actually given more importance because of its maritime potential in all civilizations. So within this, as we have about 735 kilometers of coastline, which is called the Makran coastline, which is west of Pakistan, which is of Balochistan, basically.
Yep.
On that, the extremity towards the western side is located. There's a natural harbor, which is Gwadar. That's why we say it's a natural deep sea port. It has a natural contour to house uh, bigger ships. And we did realize this in early 70s, but the project did not lift off. And then it started going into somewhere in 1992. Then we had the first feasibility in which the project was divided into two phases, and Pakistan started with its own resources. And the first phase was that we will have this Gwadar port with three berths operating with about 12.5 meters depth and 4.5 kilometers the channel to be dredged. So that was done. And after that, in 2007, a project was completed. In 2008, it was inaugurated by then President Musharraf. At that time, he was the president. And first ship of about 7,000 tonnage was allowed to enter. So that is the start of this. But later part, as we progress, because making a port is very intensive because infrastructure is huge. So later part of the day, we had our Indian and Pakistan one after the other nuclear explosions. That then we went into uh, sanctions. So the money actually was not available for the phase two. So in the meanwhile, the Chinese BRI project, it started taking shape. So then at that time, the Chinese uh, BRI project, in which the road was given to the seaside and belt was given to the Silk Belt route on the land. So the Chinese idea, as we know it, that it was to uh, connect up around 60 countries in initial phase through the link of rail and road and revive their Silk route and develop an interconnectivity between East Asia, South Asia, Central Asia, and leading to the Europe. This was the initial concept. So in this very concept, the Gwadar came as a flagship project, and that's how we signed the CPEC in
So why Gwadar flagship?
2015. Yeah, why Gwadar is now? As I said, that it had two, three things which are the advantages. Number one, it is located close to the Strait of Hormuz. Number one. Number two, it is the only deep sea natural port. Why? Because if you see in the end state, what we are looking at, that it will have around 150 to 200 berths. So it is a huge capacity which this project can give. And the Chinese estimation was that if it goes to its full potential, not only it will be giving around more than 10 billion per annum to our revenue generation, but it will be a game changer in a way that it will be contributing to about 2 to 2.5% of total GDP into our overall income also. So this is a huge potential. So uh, you need a natural contours for a harbor. So this is where you have a natural protection because it has a hammerhead. Hammerhead is a kind of head in which small areas protruded outward, and then it gives a hanger shape in which you have a protection from the external waves. So this is the natural contour of this area. So geographically, it is located at an area where there is a confluence of uh, entire sea lanes to a one point that from where it enters into the Gulf area. And then within the Gulf, of course, we know it, it is the energy hub, the second largest known oil and gas reserves in this area. And now, because of this conflict, now we know that 20% of the oil and gas, along with around 37% of the fertilizers, they pass through this choke point. So our location, geographical location with respect to this choke point is very, very important. And that's how we can leverage our just geographical advantage to our economic and geopolitical benefit both.
How, sir? So the question is how. So when the Strait of Hormuz they are passing through their you can say their the ships. So well, what economic opportunity it offer to Pakistan specifically, or what you can say the services the port Gwadar port can offer to the those ships.
Very nice question. How it can translate into our economic well-being. That is, I think you are saying. So, number one is, as I said, the interconnectivity between the hinterland. That means our connectivity. If we see Gwadar, it has multiple channels. Like one is through CPEC to China, number one. Number two is to Afghanistan. Number three is to Iran. And number four is another passage from the Central Asian Republic, which is passing through the
Afghanistan.
western part of Afghanistan. So there are 4 5 channels which are linking this area. Number one. Number two is the uh, our old route, which is ITI, Istanbul, Tehran, and Islamabad route. That is very well established route, and if this functions, this can give another channel uh, linking all these to Turkey and then linking Turkey with the Europe. So this is also a part of the BRI. So that is the reason China has invested not only into Pakistan, into Afghanistan, Central Asian republics, as well as in Gwadar Port, and linking all these together. Now, if we link it to the present uh, Iran, Israel, and US war. Now, what happened is that the choke point, when it was closed by Iran, so a lot of shipping they got stranded outside the Strait of Hormuz. Now, all these ships, those who have the containers mostly, because ingoing is all container ships, 60 to 70% container ships. They got hauled up outside the Gulf of Oman. Now, they were looking forward to offload these containers in certain ports so that they can go back and do their own normal duties into the other areas. But now they couldn't take these containers anywhere else. Had our Gwadar port ready by this time for transshipment, that means to provide the warehousing of these container ships, to make them enter and place these containers till the time the conflict is over. So we could have earned huge revenue on this, number one. Number two, if we had developed a feeder service, that means small coastal ships which could take these containers to the Gulf countries. Now, as the Gulf countries, they are starving because of their fresh provisions, their rations, grains, and all those eatables which they used to get from the seaside. So now we have a good relations with Iran as well. So we could have benefited from this this side as well, that we could have taken this initiative, which now the government of Pakistan is, to my knowledge, they are taking now, that they are trying to develop this linkage. So it would have been a great opportunity to earn a lot of money. As we always say, once there are challenges, there are opportunities. But opportunities are encashed, or they get benefit to those who are ready to encash those moments. So in my view, had we developed this by now, which is not to that level at the moment, so we could have encashed a lot of
Definitely, we could also provide other services,
moments, not
just
only
like if
in terms of
some
services, revenue. Ships could have entered and stayed here, and we could have generated revenues. That is
yes.
another area.
Sir, so these are important issues. But one more important issue, which I just want to have your quick analysis on that, because we are running short of time. So Gwadar is being portrayed by the Western propaganda or the Western countries and India also. So it's a security hub. So they are saying so Pakistan is giving it to China as a security hub, and they are doing they will keeping an eye on everything. There are so many propagated stories, or they have fabricated so many stories. So how you see the security importance of this port first, and the propaganda which is being done by the opponents. Okay, is this true, or it's just a propaganda?
I think there is a certain reality to it, in a way that uh, before we started the CPAC, once the BRI started, so there was an opposition also which started coming from the Western side, which is mainly from the US, and that was the
Mhm.
containment of China. So
बिल्कुल.
containment of China policy actually was to restrict the rise of China. And if you have to restrict the rise of China, so where do you would like you to do is, that is its industrial base is to be reduced. And how can
Mhm.
you do that? That is, of course, the industrial base is running on the energy. So main energy is going from the seaward side. Number one. Number two is, after they get the products, the surplus industrial products, they have to uh, they have to transport via sea towards the Europe, to the Africa, to the Asia. So all these choke points had to be given. Uh, uh, they wanted these to be controlled. Number one. Number two, the ports on which China has started uh, linking up its influence, and these are over 200 ports now, where
Mhm.
China has a bilateral agreement to have a preferential its networking with these ports. Not only in Asia, it is in Africa, it is in Europe, as well as it is in the South America also. So on those ports, actually, this train started coming, and Gwadar is one of them, where the collusion of India and US came into play. For the
Mhm.
reasons why, because India had already invested in Chabahar, and India was trying to have the Chabahar as one of their operating ports and linking Chabahar with Afghanistan. We freshly we know the Commander Kulbhushan episode. So he was operating from Chabahar. So
Mhm.
for them, it was easy to instigate the Balochistan BLA movement, and that's how the pressure started coming into play on this
Yes, and
Gwadar port. So this is the
Kulbhushan was
general
doing all
background.
this. He was promoting terrorism in Balochistan by sitting in the Char Bahar. Yep.
Exactly. So this is
Yeah,
the
please
background
continue.
in which, so we had a geopolitical interplay at global level and at regional level, that insurgency was instigated by the India on our soil, so that security problems come into play, and we are unable to connect the Gwadar through the rail and road process with the different regions, including China.
Okay, sir. Now, if we for moving fast forward, I think that would be the last question for this episode. There was a theory which the countries were presenting. So it's Gwadar Port is not an economic venture; it is a security venture. You said there is sometime there is a reality. So on the security level, how Pakistan can benefit, and especially when you look at that for tomorrow, and China can benefit because the major trade line for China right now is the Strait of Malacca, which is also a choke point. So on the security level, how Pakistan can benefit and China and Pakistan can cooperate.
Okay. This is another, I think, very nice question in a way that gives rise and importance to the Gwadar. Of course, I missed out a point that there was a point in once the Americans they were deciding to choke the points. Of course, the Malacca was another area where the piracy was being given rise to, and major trade flows of China flows through the Malacca state. So this was another leak of, or I would say, bypass, which was through the Belt and Road Initiative that Gwadar was also served by linking this into the Xinjiang province, the western most province of the China, so that their trade can ply from this area also. So, but for the Pakistan, I would say that Pakistan had always been professing that despite this being a CPEC project, it is a commercial port. It's not a military port. So anybody or everybody who wants to do a business with Pakistan, they can have an access to a port which is Pakistani port. So this is Pakistan's stance. And why? For the reasons because to dispel this particular notion that this is being used for uh, some security purposes in a way that it will be used against certain other countries. So this is how Pakistan started projecting our Gwadar port. Now coming to overall security construct, whereby how we can benefit from this, as we in our national security policy 2020 we said that economic security is the national security. So improving the economic conditions because of the full operation of this Gwadar port eventually will give a leverage in terms of our economic problems which are at the moment. Why? Because now the countries which have the economic stability has the sovereignty, has the say in the world, and how they can uh, uh, give more weightage as a responsible state in the International Committee of Nations. So I think not only Gwadar, the entire coast of Balochistan is a golden opportunity for Pakistan to leverage having more ports, having more industrial cities along the coast for the reasons that the normal working of industries is always it is close to the coast. 70 to 80% of the industrial cities are located on the coast. So if you take the industrial hubs to the farther side, the transportation will of course have a problem. The overall cost will increase. You'll have the road problems, you'll have the security issues. So placing industries, that is the reason this is the special economic zones were introduced so that with all these
Sir,
areas.
sir, you have described economic security. So we will also, I also want to know about the security dimension, pure security dimension, especially about the Quad. So how that these regional forums are being built, and along with other forums they are doing in the Asian Pacific, how it can bring the challenges and opportunity for that, and what role Pakistan can play. For that purpose, I think I have to sit with you with another day and have another detailed interview with you. So how the security will be an element in the context of the regional build-up and alliances such as Quad, and Asia Pacific presence of US and the collusion of interest of India with those powers and Israel also coming here. I will talk more about with that. But for today, thank you so much, sir, for your time. And we will, inshallah, in the next week, we will come back with another episode where we will be talking these all issues which I have said. Till that moment, thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.